Good afternoon and welcome to Safe Rad Stadium here in the southern suburbs of Perth. My name's Tommy Dolman and this afternoon we've got Rockingham City and Perth Soccer Club facing off in our commentary match for round 6 of the NPL WA. Thanks for joining me this afternoon on the Football West YouTube channel or Facebook page, wherever you may be watching us, whether it be across the state, country or the world. I think if it had offered Rockingham the chance to be 3 points and 1 place behind Perth going into round 6 of this season's competition, they probably would have taken it. But this afternoon's match surprisingly pits 12th versus 11th in the league, and with games ticking away in the first phase of the competition, 3 points is vital if either side harbour hopes of finishing in the top 6 ahead of the next phase. They do come off positive results last week, though. Rockingham earned their first point last week against Balcatta after a difficult start to the post-COVID season, while Perth recorded their first win of the campaign as last year's double winner saw Lightning strike twice with a late victory at Inglewood United, the scene of their 2019 Top 4 Cup win, of course. Referee this afternoon is Martin Hicks. He'll be assisted by Jamie West and Josh Manella, a linesman with plenty of A-League experience and who officiated last year's State Cup final between Floreat and Bayswater. Healthy looking crowd here at Lark Hill. Plenty of people down to watch the game this afternoon. Should be a decent sound coming through your microphone this afternoon. A pretty still day of football at the moment. There was a little bit of wind earlier, which may have made conditions tricky this afternoon, but thankfully that subsided for the moment, despite the clouds that you may see above you in the air. So on paper, it's an almighty challenge for the green and gold this afternoon, but last season's champions have been rocky despite their decorated standing at this level. It's always a good afternoon and atmosphere down here at Rockingham, and hopefully we get a game to mirror just that. As the players take their starting positions, the referee passes the ball to Sasanjegic and prepares to blow the whistle for kickoff on round 6 action here at Safe Rad Stadium, one of 6 3 p.m. kickoffs this afternoon, a full program of NPL WA action, and we're off and running with Perth getting us underway, and a few early touches as Tom Southgate passes across to Nick McDonald, and then Kieran Colwell sends it back the other way. Played in the centre of defence quite a lot last season, did Kieran Colwell. He's on the left-hand side today with Jordan DeLeo taking a place on the bench. They are still without some players at the moment, of course, as down this right-hand side, Mustafa tries to get away, and he's dangerous earlier. Ball is back for Negic, and outside of him is Colwell. Theodosiades. Pocket pick there, and then down this right-hand side, Dylan Rogers has got a little bit of room to run into. He'll try and get the better of Kieran Colwell. Ahead of him was Luke Collins and Jason Potier. On the ball here now, Declan Collins. Hodgkiss. Sokolowski. Attempted switch the play here, looking for Jack Gibson on that left-hand side. Couldn't quite keep it alive, though. Under the pressure of Yagub Mustafa, the 2 number 22s over on that far side this afternoon. Played in the last 2 games of this season as Jack Gibson, having missed the first 3. Here's another player involved in the starting lineup, Gustavo Cataccioni, back after a pretty tough recent run with injury. He came off the bench against Balcatta the other week and back in the starting lineup this afternoon. Negic. Ball into the channel is a dangerous looking one for Domfey, he's got Colwell there in support. He was stood up pretty well there by Michael Farmer, who did well to force the Perth player to play back. And now Theodosiades will look for the forward run of Mustafa, who's on the edge of the area. The Theodosiades continued his run and almost took a bit of a snapshot on the edge of the 6-yard box. He was aiming for that top left-hand corner. Couldn't quite find the target, though, and that was the first real opening of the game here. Teak taken short by Stout, and Michael Farmer opts to use his keeper once more. Here's the skipper, Lydon Hodgkiss. Into midfield for Declan Collins, former Perth Soccer Club junior, of course. Declan Collins getting a chance at senior level with Rockingham this season and wanting the ball once more. Kennedy's ball for Sokolowski. Collins tried to hook around the corner for Rogers. Perth almost had a chance to turn over possession there. Instead, Kennedy slid in and returned the ball back to Perth in any case. Now here's Silla passing the ball to Jovic. Back to Silla once more. Southgate, former Western Knights and Forestfield player Tom Southgate. Won a state cup at the Western Knights a few years ago. Famous victory over Sorrento on that afternoon, and Adriano Jelenovic extra time goal was the difference in that game. Jovic, Cataccioni, given the time to turn on the edge of the area by Rockingham's defence. Silla tried to support, now he receives possession. A little bit of patience here from Perth, who won their first game of the season last week, of course, against Englewood United. It might just light the blue touch paper, pardon the pun, for their season to finally lift off. Play does break down, though, and Hodgkiss elects to go long and upfield. Sokolowski. Turnover made by Sasenjegic. Perth will once again recycle possession. Theodosiades. Good ball out wide to Mustafa. He'll look to try and take on the opposite marker. Did he thought about shooting on the left foot there? Theodosiades has got Silla in support. The cross in the middle, hooked away, and then Collins try and palm that one forward. In fact, it was Rogers who was back on his inside defending. Silla running it. Kennedy crossing the middle is a dangerous one for Cataccioni. Farmer heads away, and now Sokolowski's got time to turn. He's got two teammates ahead of him. He'd be probably better served going back to Gibson, though, and that's what he does. But once again, the ball is an inaccurate one upfield, and that'll give Perth the time to reset once more. And now Silla's ball will release Mustafa down this right-hand side. Pass in the middle for Domfey. Return to Mustafa, who clips one into the area, left-footed, may get it back yet. Domfey stuck a toe in instead, and then Gibson opts to pass upfield for Luke Collins. Potier. Luke Collins again. Collins anticipated that Potier would continue his run. He had to check it with dangers of an offside flag looming. Perth, of course, winning their third league title in 4 years last season. Slower start this season, but Theodosiades is in the area looking to try and get something going for the visitors. Potier. 2 number 7s. Jovic tries to get a toe in. Referee lets that one go. Good challenge from Alex Jovic. And now Mustafa will try and make some room. Little clip around the corner from Cataccioni. A little bit too much weight on it. And now Kennedy will try and find a teammate. All a little bit scrappy in the centre of the park from both teams at the moment. Not quite able to get that fluid football going just yet. Most of the play has come in the wider areas. It's a better looking ball for Mort. Potier passes around the corner and finds Dylan Rogers. This is nice football from the home team. Rogers again will look ahead of him for the run of Luke Collins, ever present this season and one-on-one with Tom Southgate here, but lost his footing at the crucial moment, and the last touch was off Collins as he tried to retrieve the ball. Good pressure there from Rogers, who forces Theodosiades into the area, and that'll allow Jared Mort to come forward and throw a long one potentially into the area. Mort's cross. Montgomery shouted for that one nice and early and claimed it under no real pressure from any of the Rockingham forwards. A Rockingham team who had a similarly tough start to 2019 as well. 4 losses, 16 goals conceded, but steadied with 3 straight wins, and they'll be hoping for a repeat of that. A little bit of time to find their feet and then get some momentum going. Those 3 wins good enough to pull them clear of eventually relegated Stirling last season, and back-to-back wins in late August in the end were enough to maintain their NPL status in 2020 now. That's a good ball over the top from Jovic. It set Cataccioni on his way. He's one-on-one with the skipper Hodgkiss. Through the legs it goes. Cataccioni tries to get the ball through the other side of Hodgkiss's legs, but that's good defending from the skipper to get his body in between ball and striker. Negic. Jovic, and now Southgate. Theodosiades. Jovic. Wider to Silla. Patient play from the Azuri at the moment. Rockingham quite happy to let Perth have the ball beyond their own halfway line and maintain that shape, which was so crucial as they recorded that first clean sheet of the season last week with Balcatta and got that first point on the board. Should do their confidence the world of good this afternoon against the Perth team who, as we said in the pre-game, weren't flying themselves. Now here's Theodosiades switching flanks. I think that's already gone out of play. It has. Rockingham will get a settling goal kick, so a goalless start to this one here at the Larkhill Sporting Complex. Inside the first 15 minutes or so. Tommy Dolman on the call with you this afternoon, live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Great to have your company, and a pretty good crowd in, as I touched on in the intro. Plenty of Perth fans travelling down for this one, and a loyal contingent of Rockingham fans as well, just to the right of me. Excellent facilities down here at Safrad Stadium for all to enjoy. Silla. Jovic, Domfe, and now Theodosiades. Once again, it's that patient short passing that Perth was so good at last season. You just get the feeling they're just trying to get some touches on the ball and get their mojo back. Now, Domfe is onside here. He'll try and dig out the cross. It did take a deflection, but Sokolowski will have no worries in gathering that up now. Pass for Farmer was a slightly heavy one, and that put him under a little bit of pressure as his pass to Caldwell was a little errant. Now Caldwell continued his run. Nosebleed territory here for Kieran Caldwell. Hasn't scored an NPL WA goal for a couple of years, but playing in that fullback position instead of in the centre of defence, as we're accustomed to seeing him do so, may just give him a little bit more freedom to get forward. Potier. Left of him is Luke Collins. Two in the box, but the linesman's flag was up on this near side. Josh Manella. A very early raise of the stick. Kennedy. Collins. Nice looking player. Luke Collins, and he's found Potier there with that through ball, and he is onside. Now arriving in the middle was Collins and Rogers at the back post, but a little bit too much elevation on the cross, and play breaks down. And now Yagu Mustafa switched flanks here, and he's got a real chance to get away here. Sliding in was Farmer. Mustafa still going in the area. Round Stout. Tremendous goal line clearance. Hodgkiss, the skipper, saved the day. That was a big chance for Mustafa, though. He had all the time in the world to pick his corner and opted to go round Stout, who came out a little bit and did really well to make himself big and make life hard for Mustafa. First real clear-cut chance of the game this afternoon. And perhaps Yagu Mustafa will... I think he should have done better there. Still yet to get off the mark in the NPL WA League season. Obviously lit up the night series final back in March with an outstanding performance in that 5-0 win against Floriat. And his form has possibly mirrored that of the team's a little bit, but showed plenty of pace there and led to the best chance of the game. Now Negic is intercepting here on Declan Collins, the two number 15s, and now Mustafa will try one from range again, but he didn't quite get the purchase on that, and Stout was able to let that one fly wide of the target pretty comfortably. Home side opting to play short once again from the back. No real pressure on them, though, from Perth's midfield, who are still sitting pretty deep at the moment, and that allows Potier to come deep and exchange passes with Hodgkiss. Now, it's a teasing ball into the channel for Luke Collins, but Southgate will get there pretty comfortably. Jovic, lovely piece of skill there from Theodosiades to get away from his opponent there, and now Perth are 2-on-2 here. Domfe is charging through the middle, and Stout was off his line quickly. I think Mort got across there and got a toe in, and it proved to be a crucial challenge from the Rockingham fullback. Really well anticipated piece of defending there from Jared Mort, but once again, Perth just starting to warm into this one. The Ball through the middle by Theodosiades was a pretty good one. And Domfe was able to stretch his legs. Scored in his last 2 games, Michael Domfe, last season's Golden Boot winner. They were his first 2 goals of the league season this year. Truncated league season, of course, due to the coronavirus pandemic. A slightly different format in the league this season. We are pretty much at the halfway point of that first phase. Both these teams know a win will make such a difference to their chances as Negic puts through for Cataccioni. And Cataccioni finds the back of the net. The Brazilian gets his first goal since round 17 of last year, and the Azzurri have lift-off here at Larkhill. It's Rockingham 0, Perth 1. Well, that's a welcome boost for the visitors. Gustavo Cataccioni, the Brazilian hitman, back in the goals once again. He's had his injury issues, and it's much welcome for Perth that he's found the back of the net as he's on the ball once more. Mustafa is running into the area. Domfe's waiting. Farmer got a touch, and then Mort had to effect a second clearance. It was just the 8 goals in 2019 for Cataccioni. Crossing once more, headed away by Hodgkiss. Gibson tried to effect the challenge. Rockingham work it out pretty well, though, although Theodosiades pinches from Sokolowski. Negic still drives into the area, deflected off Hodgkiss, and behind for a corner it goes. Just get the feeling that goal for Perth has just given them a bit of a kick, and Rockingham are going to have to defend well here to withstand this storm of sorts. Corner taken short. Cataccioni tries to make something out of nothing. Rogers is defending over on that other side and does really well and combines nicely with Farmer now. If Potier can turn, he was one-on-one with Colwell there, but it's good defending from the former Balcatta defender. Negic. McDonald, 2 Perth Glory youth players once upon a time linking up, and now Colwell tries to skip past Mort, who sticks the arm out, and that meant Colwell went to ground, and Mort will pick up the first yellow card of the afternoon. Nothing too controversial about that one. Free kick taken quickly here by Jovic. Theodosiades driving into the area. Coming across was Mort, who was alert after retreating back towards the area. Short corner work by Perth. Silla drives. Theodosiades wasn't sure whether he was onside or offside. He hesitated, and then when he did eventually touch the ball, the linesman did raise his flag over on that far side, Jamie West. Last touch there off. And Gibson will present Perth with another throw. Perth team who were 3 points ahead of Rockingham coming into this afternoon's game. 1 point behind Englewood as well, as Colwell's ball into the channel will seek out the run of Domfay. Farmer's back and defending pretty well though now. Sokolowski has to act quickly. He does, and that's nice football there by Rockingham to play out of a corner, although Cataccioni gets a crucial boot in. Links up a little bit of a 1-2 there with Theodosiades. Cataccioni trying to make a yard for a shot. It'll land at the feet of Mustafa, who blazes over wastefully. And another chance presents itself to Perth. And they're really turning up the volume at the moment on this NPL WA Round 6 clash. I wonder whether they may live to regret not getting a second goal during this period of dominance as the afternoon wears on. Now, Gibson's ball is seeking out the run of Collins. Montgomery was out off his line. It looked a dangerous claim from the goalkeeper, but a safe one in the end. Negic. Mustafa leaves it for Silla. 3 players in the area here. It was charged down, though, by Gibson on that far side, and that allowed Stout to gather pretty comfortably. The Rockingham custodian, who's played in every NPL WA match this season for the club. Former NPL Queensland goalkeeper as well, having played at Redlands United. Plenty of experience at the back. Now, Rockingham have got a little bit of space in midfield here, and it'll be Declan Collins who'll look ahead for Luke Collins. Exchanges passes with his namesake once more. Collins will drive one from range, and goodness me, it had Montgomery scrambling for a minute. I don't think he knew where his goal was. It looked a pretty harmless shot from Luke Collins, who's looks pretty lively in this opening half of the first half. I'm not sure whether that one was creeping in the corner or not. Anyway, provides Rockingham with their first set piece of the afternoon. It'll be Ryan Kennedy who'll swing it in left-footed. McDonald heads away. A race between Sokolowski and Jovic as to who gets there first. It'll come back with a little bit of interest from Gibson. Still time for Rockingham to turn and retain possession though, but Potier's pass was a disappointing one as he looked to the feet of his teammate Kennedy. Once a Floriat, Jason Potier. 19 appearances and a goal in 2019, which was actually scored against Perth in the corresponding fixture down here at Larkhill last season. That was actually a 3-2 win that afternoon for the home team. It ended Perth's 26-game unbeaten run across 2 seasons. Lydon Hodgkiss scored a brace that day. 2 of his 3 goals actually came in that game last season. So they have got a little bit of history of beating the Azzurri, even though this is only their 3rd NPL WA meeting in the open era of the competition. Second season, of course, after earning promotion in 2018 under Cam Lord. Now, Colwell's ball's a good one for Cataccioni once more, but Stout was off his line pretty promptly to deal with the situation. Now, Potier will lift over the top for Sokolowski. Sokolowski leaves it for Potier. Rockingham playing some nice football when they get a little bit of time and space in midfield. And now the releasing ball from Sokolowski looked for the run of Dylan Rogers, but once again, just a little bit too much elevation on those passes forward. Accuracy's been pretty good for the most part. It's just allowed Montgomery a little bit too much time to come out and claim. Just back to Rockingham, of course, that promotion in 2018 under Cam Lord. They were actually in the State League Division 2 in the middle of the previous decade. Most of their 50-year existence has been in the league below this one, but they're up in the big time now with some of the best teams in this division. Now Mustafa will release Cataccioni, and goodness me, that's another chance goes begging for Perth. The Brazilian will be disappointed not to double his tally on his return to the starting lineup. Perth have managed to get their passing going in this game, but most of the opportunities that have been presented to them have come as a result of turnovers in midfield, with releasing balls through to the flankers and the centre forwards. It's a bit more of a 4-4-2. Once again, Mustafa and Theodosiades have switched flanks once more. Negic. Releasing ball for Colwell's a pretty good one. Wants to use Theodosiades. Attempted back heel. Wasn't going to fool Mort, who is on a yellow card, remember, after that earlier challenge on Colwell. Once again, Perth try and get something working down that left-hand side, but Rogers decides that putting the ball out of play is the better option. Now it looks as though Rockingham are going to make an early change here. And it will be James Paler who enters the field. And he'll replace Jared Mort, who looks to be just hobbling a little bit. I'm not sure whether that's a muscle strain or what that is. Thankfully it doesn't look too serious, but Mort did look in a bit of discomfort as he came off the pitch. Anyway, it allows Paler to come on the pitch. Very tall, solid looking player is Paler. Theodosiades crosses a good one to Domfay at the back post, who was wide open there for a moment, and Gibson had to get a foot in to divert behind for a corner. This is actually James Paler's second appearance of the season. He did actually play in the opening game of the 2020 season, but collected a red card against Floreat Athena, and this is the first time he's been seen since. Should be a very handy option at set pieces, at least with the height that he has. Once again, Perth opts to take a short corner. Silla pickpocketed by Potier, but luckily for him, there was some cover back there in the form of Jovic, and now Perth once again try to get the ball moving quickly, but they turn over to Rockingham, who'll look to try and get a counter-attack going. That's a nice turn from Luke Collins, and he'll emerge with the ball under pressure from Colwell and Theodosiades. Now Kennedy. Collins. Kennedy. Switch the play, will look for Gibson. He'll have time to bring it down, but once again the touch was a little off for Rockingham. Having worked their way into a pretty good area of the pitch and with bodies forward of the ball, it was a little wasteful. Sokolowski, Potier, Declan Collins uses Dylan Rogers on his outside, crosses deep onto the back post. Silla shouts loudest and gets his head to the ball, and then a miscommunication between Mustafa and Cataccioni leads to yet another cheap giveaway of possession. Been a feature from both teams in this first half. Perth just having that little bit of extra polish in the final third so far, and that's the difference. Paler. Declan Collins. Switch the play, misdirected, but still alive here for Rockingham. Declan Collins, of course, part of the Perth team that won the under-20s top 4 cup final last season. Fifth appearance of the season, a couple in the under-20s as well. Back pass will put Stout under a little pressure, but he was able to clear with Cataccioni lurking. Negic. Ball forward a little straight for Theodosiades to run onto. Farmer. Jovic. Mustafa. Silla. Mustafa again. Theodosiades. Mustafa turns on the afterburners. He's got Cataccioni and Domfe ahead of him. Cataccioni tried to find the supporting run off Theodosiades, but pass took a little touch on the way through, and that was easy enough for Stout to gather once more. Collins. Paler. Running forward here, James Paler didn't have any pressure forthcoming initially. Ball given away by Rockingham, and now Theodosiades has got a paddock of space over on this far side. He should be able to put Alex Silla into the area ahead of him. Important cut out there from Hodgkiss, who was alert with Domfe lurking in behind him. And now coming forward the other way is Kennedy, and now Rockingham have got plenty of space in their midfield to operate in as well. Collins will re-find Kennedy. Looks up and waits for an option to present. Sokolowski, little clip over the top, so pretty good one for Potier, who's in the area here. The cutback for Rogers, and a touch just got away from him under the pressure of Southgate. Still alive for Rockingham though. Sokolowski's cross. Arriving late is Potier. And he just couldn't quite keep his head over the volley. And that's just about Rockingham's best opening in the game. He'll be disappointed to have not hit the target there. Jason Possier, former Floreat Athena player. Ever present in this team. As it stands, though, it's Rockingham City 0, Perth Soccer Club 1. Live on the Football West Facebook and YouTube channels this afternoon. Gustavo Cataccioni, the man in possession, has the only goal. His first of the season on his first start, and he's linking it with Domfey down this right-hand side, but good defending by Hodgkiss to come across and stave off the danger. Cataccioni. Paler digs out the clearance and gains a few metres for the hosts, who are in pretty good voice down here, despite the way the season's panned out so far. They did get it together last season after a sticky opening as well, so plenty of time left in this season to come as Cataccioni can't get the better of Gibson this time. Rockingham team who've lost a lot of goals at the end of last season and going into this one. That's been different so far, that polish in the final third. They've passed the ball pretty nicely in midfield when they have got it going. Hodgkiss. Collins. Hodgkiss gets the ball back once more. Still forward here, Hodgkiss, but can't dig out the pass, and now he's out of position as Perth look to counter through Negic, and then Domfey, returning pass, was looking for the run of Negic, but sliding in was Paler. And clearing behind for a corner. It was 27 goals between Riley Van Dijk and James Harmer and James Millard last season, which did depart the team, and goals at the best of times, whichever level you're playing at, are hard to replace. Now Jovic is driving into the area, saved by the boot of Stout. The cross was driven low across the area. In the end, it was a pretty crucial intervention. McDonald. Southgate. And now Alex Silla. Last year's top four cup final hero, of course. Colwell. Plenty of time to turn and look inside for Mustafa, who has once again switched flanks with Theodosiades. Colwell. Back heel works for Negic. Now Colwell has continued his run. Negic tried to find him. Got the ball back in any case. Low ball in was far too close to Stout, though. And then the clearance from the goalkeeper was very wayward and was nearly pickpocketed by Theodosiades. It ended up at the feet of Domfey, who's in on goal and doubling Perth's lead. I think they've got their mojo back, the Azzurri. And a crucial goal for the visitors. In the leading minutes before the half-time whistle, Rockingham 0, Perth 2. Down here at Lark Hill. So Michael Domfey scores in a third consecutive NPL WA game. Last year's Golden Boot winner, of course, with 16 goals. And after a slow start to 2020, he's back with that taste for goal. And now Rockingham have got a real tough challenge on their hands. Can they pull one back before the break? Kennedy's ball forward, looks forward for Collins. Clearance by Siller over on that far side. They desperately like to get one back before that half-time whistle, the home side, just to get the energy going in the dressing room, to get the crowd going as well. I've had a couple of half chances in this game, and they've passed the ball around pretty well at times, but that's where it's broken down so far this afternoon. And yet again, Perth are able to step in and try and control things once more. Just about to enter first half stoppage time here, and Perth are on the hunt for a third goal with Cataccioni down that right-hand side in plenty of space, and Mustafa running into the area. Potier, clip over the top, will look for the run of Dylan Rogers, but that ball once again a little too heavy. Rogers, one of the young promising talents down here at Rockingham. Played with the 18s and 20s in 2019. 3 goals in the under-18 specifically among 24 appearances across both teams. He actually made his senior debut, Dylan Rogers, in the second to last game of last season against Inglewood. Now Cataccioni's in behind once more here, and Perth can score a third on half-time, but Cataccioni toes wide of the mark. And once again, the ball possibly just held up a little more than the Rockingham defence anticipated, and that allowed Cataccioni to run onto the ball and get on the end of Colwell's pass. Nevertheless, a pretty good half's work so far. Jovic stumbles on the ball, nearly turns it over. In the end, just manages to get it back to McDonald, who links up with Southgate, and then the ball over the top will try and catch Rockingham's defence flat-footed again. Easily dealt with in the end, as Martin Hicks puts his whistle to the mouth and blows time on the first 45 minutes down here at the Larkhill Sporting Complex. Rockingham City 0, Perth Soccer Club 2. Goals in the opening half from Perth's hitmen Michael Domfey and Gustavo Cataccioni, the latter on his first start of the season. Domfey with his third in 3 games. Rockingham have had their moments as well. A shaky moment from Montgomery to turn Collins's drive around the post, and then Potier probably had Rockingham's best chance when he volleyed over the bar from inside the area. But it's looking pretty good for the Azuri at the moment. They lead by 2-0, and we'll be back with you in the next 10 or 15 minutes for the second half here. Welcome back to the second half of this NPL WA Round 6 clash between Rockingham City and Perth Soccer Club. Players and officials emerge from the tunnel for the second half. That'll just give us a moment just to run through some of the halftime scores. If you want to watch a game later, just turn your volume down now for 30 seconds or so. Elsewhere, we've got Armidale trailing by a goal to nil at home to Bayswater. Balcatta beating league leaders Gwelup 2-1. ECU leading at Floreat. Perth Glory 1, Coburn City 0. And Sorrento and Inglewood United all square at 1 apiece. Ramon Falzone and Gary Christie, the respective coaches, take their place on the bench. Referee Martin Hicks sets his watch. Has one quick check the goalies are in place, and then it gets the second half underway. No changes at the break from either team. There was one change in that first half though, with Jared Mort going off and James Paler coming on. And as it stands, the goals from Gustavo Cataccioni and Michael Domfe are what separates the teams at the moment. Jovic, Cataccioni, Mustafa and Silla are wide of him. Silla still wider of Mustafa. Mustafa elects to come inside instead. Pass cut out by Rogers, who anticipated the ball to Theodosiad as well. And now Njegic will use a little back heel to find Colwell. Possession returned to him. Theodosiades. Great to see Theodosiades back on the pitch and fit and firing. Came back midway through last season after a serious injury, and he's making headway towards the penalty area. Pass was looking for Mustafa, who goes laterally across the 18-yard area, and the shot took a little deflection off Hodgkiss, and that was enough to deflect that one out of harm's way and into the grateful arms of Stout. Couldn't quite tell what the trajectory of the ball was initially after that Yaqub Mustafa drive. Referee Martin Hicks not impressed with Jack Gibson's attempts to steal a few metres upfield. Inside it goes for Sokolowski, and back once more for Hodgkiss. Farmer. 14 games in 2019 for Michael Farmer, 3 this year. Scored 2 crucial goals at the back end of last season in August to ensure Rockingham maintain their NPL WA place. And the releasing ball down the right-hand side was a good one for Dylan Rogers, and he wins the corner off Colwell, so a good opportunity for the home team to reduce the deficit and perhaps find a route back into this one. Meanwhile, we'll have a very early substitution here in the second half. And it'll be Declan Collins who makes way, and coming on in his place is Alex Grayson, so midfield for an attacker. Very aggressive change from Gary Christie ahead of this set piece. Grayson will take his spot in the penalty area, and Kennedy will whip it in. It's headed away by Silla. Rogers tried to bring it down. It was a high and tough one for him to bring to ground though, and now Negic will look to set Perth on the counter-attack. Mustafa emerges with the ball, and he's got two ahead of him. One of them's Silla, one of them's Cataccioni. It lands at the feet of Silla, who comes inside and squares for Mustafa again. Still alive for Theodosiades. And now Domfey, who stayed onside, desperate defending from Sokolowski, and then emerging with possession and winning what he thought was a foul was Gibson. Domfey did come away with it in the end, and the referee said there was nothing wrong with the challenge, and that allowed the Golden Boot winner of 2019 to win a first corner of the half for Perth. We've seen several short corners from the Azzurri in this game. I wonder if we'll see another one here with Jovic and Njegic just hanging out in the corner. With Jovic with an outswinger, a deep one for Cataccioni, who did get his head to it but misjudged the flight. Still alive here for McDonald. Inside for Theodosiades, standing up was Grayson in defence, and then McDonald's ball into the area. A pretty agricultural challenge there from Jovic, and Stout claimed the ball but won a free kick in any instance. Rogers. Pickpocketed by Sasanjegic once more, and now Alex Jovic. Cataccioni. Ball into the channel for Yagub Mustafa, who's one-on-one with Gibson, and in the end the supporting cast came across to help him out for Rockingham. It's still alive here for Perth though, as Mustafa finds Cataccioni. Domfey on the volley, didn't catch it at all well, and Stout was able to gather that pretty easily. Perth retain possession once more. Jovic's ball's a nice one for Domfey. In the middle was Cataccioni Paler, that time with the unorthodox clearance. It'll bring about a second opportunity for Perth still though, as Theodosiades comes roaring into the area. Colwell's cross deep onto the back post. Mustafa waiting and volleying straight at Stout again. The goalkeeper's been busy in this second half so far, as Perth try and find that third goal, which you'd think would surely put this game to bed. There's still plenty of time in this one for Rockingham though, if they can get one to halve the deficit, but Potier's pass was behind both Luke Collins and Alex Grayson there. Grayson, who picked up a red card earlier in the season and making just his second appearance of the campaign off the bench. Jovic. Colwell. Plenty of seagulls swooping around the ground here. We are near the coastline in Perth's southern suburbs. Currently Rockingham 0, Perth 2, as Mustafa looks inside for Cataccioni. Nice triangle passing there from Perth. Silla's clip into the area. Domfey's header! Oh, he's lighting it up again, Michael Domfey. He's found the golden touch. Last year's Golden Boot winner is back in the goals, and that's an ominous sign for the Azzurri. Once more, Rockingham 0, Perth 3. And that might just be enough for Perth to record back-to-back wins, you'd think. (3-0) Perth. Brace for Michael Domfey, takes his tally to 4 for the season. They were the second lowest scorers of the competition going into this game, were Perth, but this should give their attacking trio a lot of confidence. And now Cataccione's released Mustafa in the area again, striking. Good stave out. Put a boot out and got the clearance of it. Negic still driving into the area, unchallenged, striking, desperate defending. Theodosiades. It's all hands to the pump now for Rockingham's defence, with Perth's midfield and attack swarming forward once more. Mustafa was in the area. He was striking at goal. It was on target, and Stout with a good boot out to divert that one away from the target. And then Twinkle Toes, shown by Sasanjegic, nearly carved out another opportunity, but in the end it was Theodosiades who blazed over. Potier can't quite keep that one in play. Home side, not home side, sorry, not quite settling into this second 45 minutes just yet. Instead it's Perth who got the early goal. Let's put them in a very powerful position. And speaking of powerful, it's Silla's driving run forward, which has got Rockingham on the back foot once more. Shielding that one out was Gibson. Substitutes warming up for Perth, just to the right of your screen at the moment. Among those players, Jordan DeLeo, Jackson Morgan, and the youngster in Giovanni Suarez, recruit from the NPL in New South Wales. Rockingham, of course, already used 2 substitutes this afternoon. A real mountain to climb if they're to record a first one of the season. It's a dangerous looking ball in from Rogers over on that far side. Nearly picked out Grayson. Opportunity still here for the hosts, though. In the end, the passage of play breaks down and Nick McDonald can clear upfield. Domfey, really good centre forward play, that one from Michael Domfey to hold up possession and bring a teammate into play. But it's pinched pretty well by Michael Farmer, and once again the pass just doesn't quite make its way through to Grayson. Hodgkiss's ball gives Grayson something to chase. Calm and composed play from Montgomery. Sokolowski nearly got a toe in, but Jovic emerges with the ball, and now Theodosiades will set Cataccione away. He's onside here. Gibson was playing the centre forward on, and Cataccione will drive into the area, but Hodgkiss with some real good defending there. Questions as to where that flag was. It did look from here, though, as if Jack Gibson was keeping the Brazilian onside. In the end, Captain Reliable was back and in the right place at the right time to ensure that Cataccione didn't add to his goal tally this afternoon. Mustafa. Domfey, a willing runner into the channel. Negic is open at the moment if he can turn and get his head up and get the ball to him. It was a good covering defence from Rockingham to halt the play for the moment, but Silla's lurking inside. Jovic cleared away by Potier, and that will run all the way out for a throw-in over on that far side. Rockingham 0, Perth 3. Looks like it's going to be a second consecutive win for the Azzurri. Second of the season. They've taken to 7 points, all 7 of which have come on the road as Mustafa drives in left-footed. Good block from Hodgkiss. He thought about clearing that one first time. In the end, had time to bring it down. And now Kennedy will look out wide for Potier. Clip around the corner. McDonald should have enough time and composure to bring that one down. He gets away from Potier pretty easily. And now Theodosiades is out, one-on-one with Farmer on that far side. Little reverse pass for Colwell was a good one, but Rogers was tracking back nicely, and upfield it goes from Stout. Flick on from Grayson was a really good win in the air. Now Sokolowski is his only support for the moment. Arriving at the back post here is Collins, though, who opted for the first time volley, and I think Silla just perhaps thought that Montgomery was going to come and claim that, and in the end it allowed Luke Collins to sneak in behind and effect that first time volley. We'll present Rockingham with another chance from the set piece, and forward come the cavalry in the form of Hodgkiss and Paler. It's towards the penalty spot. Paler got his head to it in the end. It ended up going backwards, and Farmer couldn't win the 50-50 contest with Mustafa. And once again, Perth are often countering, and Mustafa's got pace to burn here. He's racing away from Farmer. Touch looked a little heavy, and then rather than take on the shot, Mustafa tried to possibly round Stout there, and chance for a fourth Perth goal went begging in the end. So much pace to burn Yaqub Mustafa, but quite possibly he may have hoped to have taken a couple of shots first time instead of trying to round the goalkeeper. Now Negic's ball is in the path of Mustafa again. Can he bring this one in this time? He couldn't initially. He'll get it eventually, and now Negic will drive at goal, deflected, and it took the heat off the shot, and Stout was able to get down and save that without too much stress. As I touched on before, all 7 of Perth's NPL WA points this season, assuming this result stays as it is, will have come on the road. Yet to pick up anything at their usual fortress of Dorrien Gardens, and they've yet to even register a goal there, which is quite surprising, but perhaps the pressure of not playing at home was something that Perth have been able to thrive on the last few weeks with a nice run of away games. This is their 3rd of 3, and now the Azzurri will make a double change. First substitution will be scorer of the first goal, Gustavo Cataccioni, and on in his place is the youngster, Giovanni Suarez. Young up-and-coming prospect signed from the NPL in New South Wales. Be interested to see how he looks in his first encounter for Perth. And the other changes, Jaden Gorman, and he'll come on for Andreas Theodosiades. So Ramon Falzone turning to the bench twice, adding a little bit more pace to try and perhaps put this game to bed once and for all. Well, we know Jaden Gorman has got plenty of that. 2 goals this season for the former Perth Glory youngster. Actually came to the Azzurri last season, did Jaden Gorman. Joined in the May transfer window and had to bide his time in the under-20s before getting a crack at senior level this season. Collins. Potier, that's nice skill from the winger, and then the pass just didn't quite have the weight on it to get in behind McDonald. Suarez. It's a nice looking ball out wide for Gorman, who will have his first touches of the afternoon. One-on-one with Farmer, and striking And trying to pick out that top corner, but leant back slightly and got under the ball in the end. Kennedy. Nice pass out wide for Potier, who tries to link up with Sokolowski. It was a tough one for the midfielder to control, and in the end it breaks down. But Gibson steps in really well and fancied his chances as an opportunity to strike at goal became apparent, but probably rushed that one a little bit, did Jack Gibson. He had plenty of time and space to balance himself a little better for that strike on goal. Perth's defence was a little stretched on that occasion. Dangerous pass there. Was slid away by McDonald in the end under the pressure of Dylan Rogers, who's back in there once more, pressing really hard, trying to work hard to enforce the turnover. But in the end, Perth work it out really well, and the releasing ball wasn't quite on point for Jaden Gorman. Paler. Switch the play is a good one for Rogers, who's been pretty lively this afternoon. That's a nice little reverse ball for Farmer, who's forward from full back. He tried to pick out Grayson. Driving strike! Oh, goodness me. Well, it ricocheted out to Sokolowski, who pulls one back for the hosts. But it was a rasping drive from Dylan Rogers. It was worthy of finding the top corner alone, and jolly on the spot was Sokolowski to pull one back for the home team. Just a sniff here. His first goal of the season. Rockingham 1, Perth 3. Oh, wonderful drive from Dylan Rogers. You almost feel a little sorry for him. That one didn't nestle in the top corner. It was absolutely rasping towards Montgomery's goal, and in the end it ricocheted back and into the path of Sokolowski, who was in the right place at the right time, and maybe that'll give the home team a little bit of something to fight for in these last 20 minutes or so. They're intercepting a Perth counter-attack once more through Hodgkiss, and then Kennedy. Now Sokolowski, the goal scorer. Potier. Sokolowski continuing his run. He's been pretty good in this half as the box-to-box midfielder, and just as I give him a little bit of credit for his second half efforts so far, he overcooks the pass slightly. Perth just playing a little more safe since conceding that goal. It's given Rockingham a little bit of belief, and Kennedy's pass was dangerous for Sokolowski again. Southgate nearly plays his way into trouble and instead clears upfield. Mustafa fouled Gibson there, and the home team quick to get things moving again. They are stalled for the moment, though. Kennedy, who started on that left-hand side, has come inside, and he's had a little bit of influence in the middle of the park. That's nearly a careless pass from Gibson, but it worked all right for Paler in the end now. A little bit of space for Farmer, who's quite advanced from that right-back position. Rogers, we've seen what he can do from range. Grayson, we couldn't quite bring that one under control, and that allowed Southgate to nip in. Rockingham still pressing, though, and Silla was put under pressure by Gibson. It'll come straight back, though, from the clearance. I just wonder if Rockingham can find another goal in the next 5 minutes or so to set up a real grandstand finish down here at Lark Hill. A game which looked well and truly over at 3-0 with goals from Gustavo Caricerni and 2 for Michael Domfe. And that answering strike from Blake Sokolowski's just given Rockingham some hope, but that hope might be short-lived as Jaden Gorman races away, runs into the area, and didn't catch a strike well at all. Pass forward from Rogers over hit. Collins unable to run onto that one. Rockingham 1, Perth Soccer Club 3. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages this afternoon. Thanks for joining me, Tommy Dolman, wherever you may be watching around WA or beyond. Mustafa. Pass forward for Negic, who's got green grass ahead of him. Negic's strike, he opts to take it on early, and it was going to be a belter if it was to beat Stout from there. Over the fence it goes, and another ball will need to be found. It is. It comes from Gary Christie's dugout. Coach who was assistant to Cam Lord, of course, in that promotion season, and involved with the 18s and the 20s, knows a lot of these youngsters very well. Negic, lovely composed play there from the midfielder. Mustafa fouls his fellow number 22 again. That will allow Rockingham to get a few bodies forward. Bodies which will hopefully attack Paler's free kick. A deep cross. The head was put on the ball by Farmer, I think it was, on that far side, but never in any danger of troubling Montgomery's goal. A goal and a defence which is still yet to keep a clean sheet in season 2020. For Perth, they did have the best attack and the best defence last season. Sure, Ramon Falzone will be desperate to try and tidy that one up. They are still missing a few players with injury, Perth. Jordan DeLeo, of course, on the bench today as well. Paul Zimmerino and Bojan Radinovic also not involved this afternoon. Meanwhile, Rockingham have made a third change. We'll tell you about that one in a second as Mustafa tries to race away but leaves that one behind. It's young Mitch Gruen who's entered the fold for Jason Potier. He's trying to get on the end of that 1-2 pretty quickly. Sliding in well was Kennedy. Collins. 2 in the box. It's a good-looking cross. McDonald has to head away. And then Colwell will throw a boot at it and get it into touch any old how. Mitch Gruen, 21 appearances, 2 goals in the under-20s last season. Another one who's stepped up to make 2 senior appearances this season. Already 3 goals in the under-20s this season from Mitch Gruen. Suarez took a little bit too much time to get rid of the ball there and presents Rockingham with the chance to get the ball moving forward. It looks pretty good here as Dylan Rogers drives into the area here. He's got support at the front and the back post, but the cross was a little overhit and drifted straight over the head of Collins at the back stick. Clearance upfield from Montgomery, Sokolovsky. Hodgkiss forward, Sokolovsky. Poke forward looking for the run of grace, and chipping in there was Southgate to try and clear the danger. Rockingham, though, you just sense have gained a little bit of momentum since pulling that goal back. Gruen. Rogers. Last touch was off the substitute there. 2 goals against Armidale a couple of weeks ago in the under-20s, Mitch Gruen. Domfey. Releasing pass for the run of Jaden Gorman here, who'll keep that one alive under the pressure from James Paler. And in the end, there was a pull of the jersey from Gorman, who was mismatched in terms of size anyway against his taller opposite marker. McDonald's header. Forward by Colwell. Sokolovsky pass looked a little short there, and that allowed Domfey to nick in off the toes of Paler. And now Perth are forward again as Negic tries to clip forward from Mustafa. Pass was a little overhit here as Perth try to score a 4th and put this game to bed once and for all. Forward by Hodgkiss. Dangerous looking ball. Collins will try and get on the end of it. Flag was up though. I'm not sure about that one. It looked as though Collins' run from deep was onside, but the linesman in a far better position to judge that than me. Jovic. Gorman looking to time his run. It goes inside for Suarez instead, and now Domfey will line one up. Blocked well by Gibson. Still alive for Domfey though, who'll walk into the area unchallenged. Still going Domfey. Into the penalty area and passes back for Jovic in the end was a little short. Giovanni Suarez. Jovic. Silla. Ball forward's a good one here for the run forward of Suarez. Pullback's dangerous. Gorman was arriving, and that was good defending from Rogers, who was back from that right wing possession, but Perth will get the ball back as Mustafa has time to line one up. It's blocked again by Rogers, who is still there. Surely this time Mustafa, he stands on the ball. And it's been one of those sorts of days for Yaqub Mustafa, unfortunately. He's done everything but get a goal, and now Grayson will look to launch Rockingham forward. Pass forward's a good one. Oh, the flag goes up, and promising opportunity to attack breaks down for the home team. Unfortunately for them, Gruen just couldn't quite time that run. Southgate. Mustafa's onside here. Still trying hard is Yaqub Mustafa, despite his off luck this afternoon. He'll try and get a strike on goal here, and there's the fourth and sealing goal for Perth. Yaqub Mustafa does get his goal, and that should be enough to deliver 3 points to the Azzurri this afternoon. It'll catapult them into mid-table, and they'll win consecutive games for the first time this season. Rockingham 1, Perth 4. Well, he's had enough chances this afternoon as Yaqub Mustafa. I'm sure he'll be kicking himself that he's not scored more than one, but he gets a goal worthy of his performance. And that should be enough for this afternoon, although Grayson will try and pull another one back quickly for the home team. Just couldn't quite get the power to challenge Montgomery. Long-term Subiaco goalkeeper joined Sterling Lyons midway from last season in their relegation campaign and made the move across to Dorrien Gardens in this off-season. McDonald retreats back to Montgomery. Rockingham fans still trying to encourage their team. Polish in the final third, definitely the difference this afternoon. And another example of that as Mustafa comes forward and rolls across for Gorman at the back stick. And in the end, the pass from Mustafa was in front of Domfe and Gorman. Perth close to adding a fifth goal. Gruen. Sokolowski. Paler. Stepping in there, Silla. Collins will intercept that one. Now Paler will look for Kennedy, who's looked pretty good since moving into the centre of the pitch. Silla intercepts with Grayson lurking. Inventive little flick around the corner there from Domfe, who sets Gorman away in there. 3-on-3 here if they can manipulate this opportunity. Perth. Mustafa gets the better of his opponent. That was a good save from Stout at his near post to halt Mustafa's attempts at getting a second for the afternoon.
Oh, come on, Al. Come on, Al. You coming out? You coming out or what? Come on, Al.
Rogers. Offside there is Gruen. And Ramon Falzone will turn to the bench for a second double change of the afternoon as time ticks down for the afternoon here at Lark Hill. It's Alex Jovic who departs, and he's replaced by Jackson Morgan. And a final change, you'd think, for Perth, we'll see Jordan DeLeo enter the field for Yaqub Mustafa. Will no doubt be satisfied with his afternoon's work. And a good performance from Perth's front three. It should give them a lot of confidence in the weeks ahead. They're going to get the job done here and record a second win of the season. Colwell's pass cut out by Hodgkiss. Paler. DeLeo was trying to put a bit of pressure on. Suarez got half a toe in, and in the end DeLeo tracked back with plenty of energy. That was a crucial touch from Farmer to divert the ball away from danger. And Perth still had plenty of numbers forward though, and now Jackson Morgan will get on the ball. Domfey. Morgan again. Joined with his South Sudanese teammate Yaqub Mustafa from Stirling. Well, they were both at last season. That's a nice pass there from the substitute to DeLeo, and then the strike came in from Negic, but there wasn't enough power there to trouble Stout. Colwell and Rogers battling out possession on that far side. Perth just looking to maintain possession the final few minutes or so. DeLeo will try and inch his way forward. He gets the better of Gibson pretty easily. Still going, Jordan DeLeo, and I'm not sure if that cannoned off the post or off the glove of Stout, but either way, it was a pretty good intervention from the goalkeeper, who's been lively this afternoon. Made a few good saves as Bradley Stout. Now can Rockingham come forward and perhaps earn a consolation goal? Rogers. That's a good-looking cross, and Rockingham have pulled one back. Final touch off Mitch Gruen. His first goal at the senior level. And the margins reduce once more. Rockingham 2, Perth 4. Possibly a little too late to influence the final result, but it'll go down as a second assist of the afternoon for Dylan Rogers. It was an absolute dime of a cross, and Grayson and Gruen were waiting. It was the latter who got his name on the score sheet at senior level for the first time this season. Morgan pressing hard there was Rockingham's midfield, trying to force a turnover which could yet set up a nervy final few minutes if they can get one more. I know I said that about 15 minutes ago, but every time they have scored, they've pressed on and shown plenty of confidence. Here's one of their better players of the afternoon, Collins, who's Looked dangerous on that left-hand side all afternoon. Ball forward by Gibson's a good one. The header came in from Gruen again. Gruen was arriving on the penalty spot and had enough time to get that on target if he wanted to. NPL WA action coming to you this midweek on Wednesday night, first midweek round of the season. Rockingham will make the trip to Inglewood United, who were third from bottom before the start of play today. Collision between Gibson and DeLeo. There's a strong one. Advantage will be played for Domfay, and Hodgkiss was back there and intervening. DeLeo looking a little sore. It was a heavy collision, but he's a pretty tough customer as a Perth skipper. Perth, meanwhile, returns to Dorrien Gardens for the first time in a month with a home game against Armidale. Corner taken short again. Negic's cross, headed away. Walloped forward, looking for the run of Grayson, and Gruen is also showing a little bit of interest, but Southgate was always in position A. Rockingham then are back here next weekend against ECU Joondalup at home before an away trip to Bayswater, a venue where they lost by a goal to nil in the final four locally of the State Cup. The cup which Bayswater were eventually defeated in against. Floriat by 2-1 as Sokolowski's possession is pinched by Silla, who, with a mazy run into the area, gets forward and was a little bit too unselfish there. I think Alex Silla, he tried to pick out a teammate and in the end didn't pick out anyone. Now Gibson's pass is short for Collins at the other end. Perth then follow that game with an away trip to Gwelup before hosting the Glory at Dorrien Gardens again. Clip over the top from Gibson's a good one for Collins, who's got time to pick out a teammate if the delivery is good, and unfortunately for young Luke Collins, Jackson Morgan was in the way. No foul there from the former Stirling Lions midfielder. Perth can't counter. Gibson retreats all the way back to his goalkeeper. Farmer should keep this in play and try and get the better of Kieran Colwell, but the last touch did come off the Rockingham wide man. A really exciting season shaping up here. Also, women's NPL tomorrow, live on the Football West Facebook page and YouTube channel. Perth Soccer Club's women at Dorrien Gardens against the Redbacks, and Balcatta hosting Fremantle City as well. A first all-women's refereeing team in that game. Something to look forward to as Domfay pinches possession and races away into the area. The pullback was looking for DeLeo, who's got an age of time. Hesitated, still going DeLeo, sliding in was Paler, and Perth made a little bit of a mess of that. Again, they've had ample opportunities to add a fifth this afternoon, and probably should have added at least one or two more goals to the four that they have scored. Suarez, Gorman, Negic, pass over hit for Domfay, who's found his scoring boots again in recent weeks, and that'll be the last action of the game as Rockingham City fall to a 4-2 defeat at home to Perth Soccer Club here, who win a second consecutive away game here in the NPL WA. Goals in the first half from Gustavo Cataccioni and Michael Domfay set the pace rolling for the visitors. They had a third early in the second half when Domfay scored a second, a really well taken header, and then Rockingham added a little bit of interest towards the end of the game. A opportune strike from Blake Sokolowski and a goal late on as well from Mitch Gruen, the substitute. And in between those two Rockingham goals was a Yagub Mustafa strike, which was richly deserved on what was looking like a pretty frustrating afternoon for him overall. But full time here at the Lark Hill Sports Ground here. Good atmosphere this afternoon, always a fun place to do a game. Is Rockingham City. No joy for the hosts though today. It's the visitors who run out with a 4-2 win, a second consecutive win on the road in 2020. Thanks for joining us on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages this afternoon. My name's Tommy Dolman. We're back with you with women's football tomorrow afternoon on the YouTube channel and Facebook page before a midweek round on Wednesday. But for now, it's good night.